Well, good morning, and welcome to Tuesdays with the Pilgrim, as we continue Pilgrim's Progress, beginning Part 2. And in Part 2, we follow Christian's wife and children on their pilgrimage. And Christian's wife's name is Christiana. So Chapter 18, Part 1. Courteous Companions. Some time ago I shared with you the content of the dream I had about Christian the Pilgrim, and his perilous journey towards a celestial country. It was a pleasant experience for me, and I trust that it was profitable for you. In that dream I also related to you what I saw concerning his wife and children, how they were unwilling to go with him on the pilgrimage, and how on account of that he was forced to go ahead without them, for he dared not stay with them and run the risk of experiencing the terrible destruction that he feared would come upon the city of destruction. Unfortunately, because of so much pressing business, I have been greatly hindered and have been unable to travel as I would have liked to into those parts where Christian went. Although I have wanted to tell you what has happened to those he left behind, I haven't had an opportunity to make further inquiry about them until recently. However, because I have experienced a renewal of concern about them in recent days, I went down that way again. Having become weary from the journey, I found shelter in the woods about a mile from the place, and there I fell asleep. Once again I began to dream. Chapter 18, Part 2. A Meeting with Mr. Sagacity. In my dream I suddenly saw an aged gentleman come by where I was lying. Because he was planning to go part of the way that I was traveling, I dreamed that I got up and went with him. As we walked, we began to converse, and our talk happened to be about Christian and his travels. I had begun the conversation this way. "Sir," I asked, "what is the name of the town that lies below here on the left-hand side of our way?" Then Mr. Sagacity, for that was his name, answered, "It is the city of destruction, a large city full of people who, though in a terrible predicament, are yet surprisingly complacent." "Yes, I thought it was that city," I said. "I once went through that town myself, and I know that your perception is true." "Only too true. I wish I could speak better of those who live there and still be truthful." Chapter 18, Part 3. What People Say About Christian. "Well, sir," I said, "I perceive that you are a good-hearted person, one who enjoys listening to and telling about things that are good. Please tell me, then, did you ever hear what happened in that town to a man named Christian, who some time ago went on a pilgrimage towards the higher regions?" "Hear of him!" exclaimed Mr. Sagacity. "Yes, and I also heard about all the abuse, troubles, battles, captivities, cries, moans, terrors, and fears that he encountered on his journey. And further, I must tell you that the sound of his name resounds throughout my country. My households have heard of him and of his efforts, and they have actually sought after and found information about his pilgrimage. I can say that his hazardous journey won many admirers. Although everyone labeled him a fool when he was still here, now that he is gone, he is highly praised by all, for it is said that he lives royally where he now is. Indeed, there are many who have resolved never to hazard such risks, and yet their mouths water as they think of the treasures he now possesses." Then I said, "They certainly think correctly if they think he is living well where he is, for he now lives at, and actually within, the fountain of life. He enjoys what he now has without labor and without sorrow, for there is no hint of grief there. But please tell me further, what do they say about him?" Mr. Sagacity answered, "Well, the people say truly amazing things about him. Some say that he now walks in white, and that he has a chain of gold around his neck, and that he wears a pearl-studded gold crown upon his head. Others say that the Shining Ones, who sometimes appear to him on his journey, are now his companions, and that he is as familiar with them in that place as we neighbors are with one another here. Besides this, it is confidently affirmed concerning him that the king of the place where he now lives has already bestowed upon him a rich and pleasant residence in his court, and that also he eats and drinks and walks and talks with him every day. And he receives smiles and favors from him who is the judge of all who are there. Is it expected by some in these parts that Christian's prince, the lord of that country, will soon come here and inquire as to the reason, if they can give any, why his neighbors stood by him so little and scorned him so much when they discovered his intent to become a pilgrim? For they say that now Christian is so loved by his prince, and that his sovereign is so seriously concerned over the indignities that were heaped upon him when he became a pilgrim, that he will regard all the abuse as if it had been done to his own person. And no wonder, because it was for the love that Christian had for his prince that he ventured forth as he did. I am glad to hear this, I said. He now has rest from his labors, and he reaps with joy the benefits of the tears he shed. He is now beyond the range of fire from all his enemies, and beyond the grasp of any who hate him. How happy this makes me! I am also happy that rumor is circulating all over the area concerning him. Who knows but that it may work for some good on behalf of those who are left behind? But please, sir, while it is fresh in my mind, do you hear anything about his wife and children? Poor people, I wonder what they are doing. Chapter 18, Part 4. Good news about Christian's family. Who, Christiana and her sons? Why, they are likely to do as well as did Christian himself. For though they all played the fool to begin with, and refused to be persuaded by the least bit of any of Christian's tears and entreaties, second thoughts have done a wonderful work in them. They now have packed up and gone after him. This is getting better all the time, I said. But what? Wife, children, and all? It's true, I can tell you all about it, because I was there when it happened, and have stayed abreast of the entire situation. Then I said, it seems that one would merely report that this was true. Don't be afraid to affirm the truth of my words. They have truly left on pilgrimage, the woman and her 4 boys, and since it appears that we will be going a considerable distance together, I will tell you the whole story. Thus, Mr. Sagacity gave me the following account. And I'm going to stop there and leave you hanging until next week, when we'll pick up the account by Mr. Sagacity with Chapter 18, Part 5, Christiana's Misery. Until then, take care, stay safe, and God bless.